Alright, welcome to my pickled green tomatoes video, and these are going to be done just like my pickles, my refrigerator pickles that I had done a video on before. So the recipe is essentially exactly the same, but this time it's just, rather than cucumbers, it's going to be green tomatoes. It's that time of year when it starts getting cold and we don't get these as much as we were getting, and a lot of the green tomatoes just stay green on the vine. A lot of times I just let them drop down and they regrow next year. I just kind of bury them and mulch them in, and I don't even really have to plant in that area. But anyway, here we are. I'm just going to cover a few quick safety measures before we start, just like last time. Sterilize your jars. When I do small batches like these, I don't put them in my canner to sterilize them. I just pour boiling water down in them and then just kind of take some gloves and dump them out and let them dry. Also, I don't use tap water. I use bottled water. The main reason I don't do it here is because my water is so hard. It's just basically liquid limestone. The first time I tried to can, and I was boiling my jars in the water bath, and when I pulled them out to let them dry, you could just pull dust off of it, just solid white, just coated in dust. So after that, I learned my lesson. Yeah, I gotta buy water for it, but it's not that expensive, so there's that. Also, I'll cover the brine. It's 1 cup of water, 1 cup of white vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of fine sea salt per quart. So I'm looking at possibly doing 4 quarts. So I would just put that in my pan. I stir it all up until I keep it on low heat and just stir it until the salt is completely dissolved, and then we're ready to go. So as before, I didn't waste your time showing you all this. Half of my ingredients are in the bottom. I start out that way, so that way when I shake it up, I've got a good solid distribution of the seasoning and the spices. So I'm just going to go through, finish this up, and the first thing I usually do while I'm filling this is I do like to put in the brine up to this point. I'll put the tomatoes or cucumbers up to the halfway point, and I want to try to make sure I get all the air out and any other spots that I can fill in. So once I get to kind of the halfway point, now I can begin with the dill seeds. Mind you, if you can't find dill seeds, you can use the dill weed, but I'll warn you, it likes to float, so it's kind of like on it. They all float down there. And mustard seed. I will put the recipe in full instructions in the description. And whole black peppercorns. Now you need a full teaspoon, so right now I'm using a half because I got a half down here and I got a half coming in here. Now with the Pickle Fresh, this is optional. You don't need this, but I like it. It does do exactly what it's supposed to do. It'll keep them crunchy, and especially if you're water bath canning. So you need a 1/4 tablespoon of that per quart. So since I'm doing quart jars, it's about all I ever do. And then for the garlic, I do the garlic. You can do do fresh garlic, and it calls for 2 to 4 cloves. But I found that this garlic is super powerful and really gives it a good flavor. So I've abandoned the fresh garlic in favor of the garlic. Now, if you want to know what you need, it actually will tell you how many tablespoons. Oh, well, this one doesn't, does it? Oh, yeah, there it is. Let's see. Nope. Well, oh, there it is, yeah. 1 tablespoon equals 1 clove. So, no, 1 teaspoon. As you saw, I'm using tablespoons. So, I used 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and like I said, you can adjust it to your taste, but I am a garlicaholic, and this is not too much for me. And when I've apologized, when I've given these away or my pickles away, I tell them, like, man, there may be too much garlic in here, and the first thing I get is there a such thing? And to me, no. Now, another option, which I won't do on this one, is cayenne pepper. I do the same on my pickles. It really does spice them up, but it doesn't push it over the edge to where, you know, a kid can't. Now, my grandkids, they will eat them. They love them. They love the heat. They love, you know, going and getting hot wings with the hottest sauces. Doesn't bother them a bit. So, but some people it bothers, but I think just the ground cayenne and just 1 tablespoon is all I put in, and I'll put it on the bottom and I'll shake it all in and just leave that. But anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and fill this the rest of the way up. I've got some small ones I can get in there because I'm getting close. Now, the main thing, just like if you're water bathing, you want to be sure that you have the headspace. Now, that's usually just on that rim right before you get to the twists. So that's, now there's funnels that will pop in there and give you and stop you before you're doing anything else. So you can use that, or after you do it enough, you just know where to stop. And especially the headspace is especially important, because when I close mine off, when I seal mine up, I use a mason jar vacuum sealer. Now, I'm going to tell you again, that's an option. You don't have to have those to make these, but I'm telling you, it's the best $20 I've ever spent. I've used this thing, used the daylights out of it. Now, I'm using a wide mouth, but it does come with, you know, you can, whoops, you can separate this super easy, and for the smaller mouths. But I use the wide mouths, and now I will. Oh, and you saw, I don't know if you saw, but I got a bay leaf in there. 1 bay leaf. I'm about to run out, so. And just wipe off everything real good. And now, this is it, people. You can see it really sucking the air out of it. This will help keep them longer. Like I said, these are refrigerator pickles. These aren't, you know, your shelf stable water bath or pressure bathed, pressure canned pickles or tomatoes. Supposedly they only last maybe, now I've heard everything from 2 weeks to 2 months. Now, I've had them in my refrigerator for at least 3 months before. You know, when I'm got so many I can't give them away, I'll be eating them all the way into January, and I'll be bringing them to Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner. So they'll last, and this definitely helps it. I let it go about a minute, and boom, and that is done. Now what I will do, I will put today's date on there, and I will give it a good shake, and I will put these in the refrigerator, and you leave them for 48 hours. That's 2 straight days. Just leave them, and that gives those tomatoes a chance to just absorb everything that's in there, all the spices and the brine, and then by the time you get them out, they'll be crunchy and very tasty. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments, or if you have any other recipe that you think I might want to try, don't be afraid to hit it. Put it in the comments. All right, guys, have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.